HarlequinAudio is proud to bring you The Cost of the Forbidden by Marinelli, a Harlequin Presents novel, performed by Justine, Eyre, and The Queen's New Year Secret by Macy Yates, a Harlequin Presents novel, performed by Johanna Parker. Prologue.
You're English.
Naomi watched from the other side of a large polished desk as Sev Derzhavin flicked through her resume with little enthusiasm. He'd already made up his mind that she hadn't got the job, Naomi decided, so it was now just a matter of going through the motions. What she didn't know was Sebastian never went through the motions. Social niceties did not apply to him.
I was born here, and my father lives here in New York, Naomi answered. So I'm legal? I wasn't asking for that. He shook his head. I'm not really big on red tape. It was your accent that had me curious. How long have you been here?
He continued to look at her resume and frowned as Naomi answered him.
12 days. You're staying in a hostel, he checked.
Just till I find somewhere to live, though that's proving harder than I thought it would. He glanced up and saw that she was blushing. She had been since the moment he'd called her name, or perhaps her complexion was just perpetually red.
I thought that you said that your father lived.
His wife just had a new baby, Naomi interrupted.
I don't blame you, then.
Sorry? He stiffened. It was the third time that she had said it.
I don't blame you for not wanting to stay with him if there's a screaming baby.
Naomi didn't respond, but her slight swallow and blink told him that, very possibly, his comment was the wrong way around, that her father didn't want Naomi staying with him. He had been about to tell her that they were wasting each other's time. Sebastian didn't deal in emotion. Computers were his thing. Books, too. Not people. There was no point in dragging things out, and so he would tell her that this wasn't going to work, that she could never be his PA, and he would tell her why if she asked. Naomi Johnson had one of those apologetic personalities that irked Sev. One of the last English words he'd learnt had been sorry, and he rarely used it. Naomi had said it twice, even before taking her seat. She had said sorry when he'd gone into reception to call her in for the interview, and she had knocked over her glass of water as she'd stood. Then, as she'd taken a seat in his sumptuous Fifth Avenue office, he'd politely asked her how her morning had been. Naomi clearly hadn't made out what he'd said, and it had been sorry again.
It doesn't matter, had been his irritated reply.
And now she'd just said it again.
I don't think it will work, Sev said.
Mr. Derzhavin.
Sev, he interrupted. I'm not a school teacher.
He looked up into serious brown eyes, and seeing her rapid blink, he reeled back a touch from his usual abrupt dismissal. She, Naomi, had clearly made a huge effort for the interview today. The hostel she was staying at was a dive, yet here she was in a smart suit. It was a touch tight, Sev thought, noticing her curves. Her dark hair was neatly tied back, and she looked... Sev couldn't quite place it. She reminded him of something, or rather someone. He didn't really want to examine who or what it was. There was just, he decided, no need to be brutal.
Look, Naomi, you're clearly qualified, and for a 25-year-old you have a lot of experience, and you interview well, but...
He watched her nervous swallow, and found himself wanting to let her down gently.
You've an extensive list of hobbies. Reading, horse riding, ballet, theater. It goes on. The thing is, the only hobby my PA can reasonably expect to have is me.
Felicity has already explained that to me, Naomi said. Her first interview with his current PA had been thorough enough to leave Naomi in no doubt that the role would be a demanding one. Sev Derzhavin's skills in cybersecurity were globally in demand. Apart from an impossible workload, he was a rich playboy and had a little black book that was his PA's to juggle, along with his private jet and helicopter. Yes, she'd been told exactly what the role would entail. He was arrogant, emotionless, worked you to the bone, but he paid through the nose for attention to duty. Him. From the bitter twist to Felicity's voice, Naomi had soon guessed that there might be a more personal reason for the sudden...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?